That's why someone who scored the winning goals in 2 European Championships can somehow still be labelled as cringe. Ridiculous. It honestly really makes me angry. Criticism is a part of football, we all know that. Players are analysed, questioned and debated, and this should apply to everyone. Except it doesn't. There is a growing pattern in women's football where criticism goes beyond the performance, where confidence becomes arrogance, visibility becomes distraction, and success doesn't always bring respect. In this video, I want to talk about why women footballers are often judged more harshly than men. I'm going to be analysing real case studies, bringing real examples, real context, and the same analytical standard we expect in the men's game. Male players are allowed to be unpopular, abrasive, or even boring, as long as they perform. I mean, there's real examples happening right now of players engaged in a lot of battles behind the scenes, but fans are still showing up and cheering for them. Women don't get this same standard from the fans. Women are expected to be palatable. Now, a prime example is Chloe Kelly. You probably could have guessed that I was going to bring her up. She isn't criticised for missing sitters or underperforming. She's essentially criticised for celebrating, having a lot of confidence, and just being a very visible player. This isn't performance analysis, it's actually just personality policing. Men are assessed on what they do on the pitch. Women are ultimately assessed on whether people enjoy watching them do it. And it doesn't make any sense to me. Now, a recent Guardian article just came out the other day profiling Chloe Kelly, and they highlighted some of these points as well. They discussed how increased media attention comes with disproportionate scrutiny and online abuse, something top male players rarely face. It is clear that clutch moments are minimised in women's football. In men's football, decisive moments become legacy defining. In women's football, they're treated as temporary exceptions. Now, Chloe Kelly, of course, went on to score the winning goal in both Euro 2022 and Euro 2025 that just happened. Both incredible goals, there's no doubt about it. However, despite seeing the video everywhere of her scoring that winning penalty, in equal amounts, I saw memes all over the internet. Specifically ones calling her cringe for how she celebrated, and also referring to aura farming, which I don't even know what that means, to be honest. But it seemed that it was not a compliment. A lot of players were taking her quote where she said something along the lines of, "The first time was so nice we had to do it twice." Why can't she say that? Instead, people were dragging her, saying she was cringe, it was embarrassing. And ultimately, there were just a handful of videos going around the internet of people making fun of her. This is ultimately the goal scorer for England who secured the championship win. And instead of just praising, you're mocking. How does that make any sense? Instead of being universally framed as a clutch specialist, the conversation somehow pivots to her personality, her brand work, whether she's annoying or, like I said, cringe. Now, when men make mistakes, it's framed as form or tactics or pressure. When women make mistakes, it's framed as attitude, mentality, or even entitlement. That's why someone who scored the winning goals in 2 European Championships can somehow still be labelled as cringe. Ridiculous. I can't imagine Harry Kane would get that same treatment. Now let's discuss one of the big talking points when it comes to women in football. That is brand deals. We know top female players earn a fraction of what the men do. There's no doubt about it. And career lengths are often shorter, so retirement pathways are far less lucrative or guaranteed. So what the women players rely on are brand deals, sponsorships, partnerships. However, this seems to be judged constantly, and I see it everywhere. For male players, it would be called building an empire. For women, it's called not being focused enough. For many female players, sponsorship isn't a luxury. It's actually a financial necessity for future financial security. It is safe to say that women's football has evolved faster than the discourse around it. In terms of tactical level, physicality, and professionalism, this has all skyrocketed in recent years. However, commentary often relies on outdated stereotypes, frames confidence as ego, and treats ambition as suspicion. Women players are often criticised for being overexposed, while simultaneously being asked to grow the game, a game where they get paid significantly less than what the men do. Recently, I read Mary Epps' book in which she stated how hard it was to survive on the income she got from football. And this was like the early days of her joining Manchester United. She relied on growing her TikTok in order to get sponsorships and brand deals to make more money. You don't see any of the men having to do that, therefore it's less annoying for you because you're not seeing them everywhere. Yes, because they make a lot of money that you don't need to see them except on the pitch. What would you like the women to do? It honestly really makes me angry. You can't ask players to market a sport and then punish them for being visible. You can't. Ultimately, success doesn't shield women players. In fact, it exposes them. Ultimately, men are allowed to be disliked if they perform. Women are expected to be liked before they're allowed to be celebrated. In my opinion, women deserve the same analytical framework as men. The question isn't whether women players should be criticised, it's whether they're being criticised for the same reasons as men. Let me know your thoughts in the comment. I know this is quite a polarising topic, but one I feel very strongly about. So I'm intrigued to see everyone's thoughts and feelings in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.